morning, Freedom Village. I'm Noah.
And I'm Ashley.
And welcome to your favorite morning show where we bring you all the latest news and updates from our wonderful retirement community right here in beautiful Holland, Michigan.
That's right, Noah. Whether you're sipping your morning coffee in the bistro or enjoying the newspaper in the atrium, we're here to kickstart your week with a smile and a whole lot of fun.
Absolutely, Ashley. And speaking of fun, we've got a jam-packed episode lined up for you today. From community events and activities to heartwarming stories and maybe even a few surprises along the way.
And of course, we'll be keeping you up to date with all the important news and announcements from right here at Freedom Village.
So, grab your cup of joe, settle in, and get ready to start your week the Freedom Village way.
Stick around, folks. The Monday morning show starts right now. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you.
How are
and
you? And you?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I am not quite fantastic.
Oh, no.
I'm doing pretty well.
Okay.
But I'm hoping your fantastic will kind of rub off on me, and then we'll just be fantastic all the way around.
Love that plan.
Yeah, let's do it.
Noah, I was wondering what your favorite way to spend a summer evening is.
My favorite way to spend a summer evening is probably a bonfire.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a walk on the beach, but finishing with a bonfire with my friends and family and hanging out.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
You know what sounds even better?
Tell me.
Making s'mores with those friends and family on a beautiful summer night.
That does sound better.
It does. And that is exactly what we're doing tonight at 6:30. Join us on the back patio for a night of camaraderie, relaxation, and of course, delicious homemade s'mores.
You know, I haven't had a s'more yet this summer, so I am really looking forward to this.
Oh, yes.
I can't wait. On Tuesday, we are heading to Mizu Sushi downtown for lunch. Mizu Sushi is Holland's premier sushi restaurant. In addition to their wide variety of sushi offerings, they also feature traditional Japanese and Korean dishes that will satisfy your cravings for authentic Asian cuisine. Mizu Sushi offers a number of great lunch specials as well. So sign up on Touchtown, head over on the bus today for lunch at Mizu.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow
night we will also go to Collin Park to enjoy the weekly American Legion Band concert. Bus leaves at 6:45 and it is always a popular event, so be sure to sign up in Touchtown to reserve a seat on the bus.
On Wednesday, we will get to know some of our neighbors.
Our neighbors?
Our neighbors. A representative from the Outdoor Discovery Center will be joining us to do some bird watching.
Oh, our bird neighbors.
At Window on the Waterfront. Our aviary neighbors.
Oh, fancy.
We will meet in the atrium at 9 a.m. where we'll get our binoculars and all that good stuff, and then walk over together to enjoy some birds on the boardwalk.
Well, that sounds very nice.
I know.
We have a couple great options for you on Thursday evening. At 5:15, a bus will be heading to Aldine Shipyard to enjoy Pops at the Pier.
Pops at the Pier.
Pops at the Pier. Two Broadway favorites join the Holland Symphony Orchestra in an extraordinary evening, revisiting classic songs from Broadway's Golden Age and beyond. Tickets can be purchased directly through the Holland Symphony Orchestra, and they are $35 a piece. Please sign up in Touchtown if you'd like to ride the bus to this event. What if they stay here? Then what happens?
Well, if you stay here, we have an option for you.
Wow.
If you decide to stick around, we have a great Thursday evening program in the auditorium at 7:15 for you. Valerie Van Heest is an underwater explorer, which being an underwater explorer sounds a whole different kind of crazy to me.
That sounds scary.
So cool. And she has been involved in the discovery and archaeological documentation of numerous Great Lakes shipwrecks.
Wow.
During this presentation, Valerie will present on the Michigan Shipwreck Association's most recent discovery, the steam barge Milwaukee, which sank in Lake Michigan in 1886, only 40 miles west of Holland.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
So that'll be a really great program up in the auditorium on Thursday night as well.
Lots of good things to choose from.
There are so many great things to choose from this week.
There really are.
There really are.
Well, and as the year's going on, I'm starting to see some things about the upcoming presidential election, which we're not going to get political here.
We're not.
But it got me thinking about how we still haven't had a woman president. In fact, of the 198 countries in the world, only 28 of them have women serving as heads of state or government. At the current rate, gender equality in the highest positions of power will not be reached for another 130 years.
Wow.
But here's some good news.
I love good news.
I am proud to say that Freedom Village has already broken that glass ceiling.
I'm not surprised.
No, we're way ahead of the game here.
True.
We currently have our first ever woman RAC president, and Joe Kuiper took some time to sit down with Cheryl Bouma so we could get to know her and her goals for this position.
Really nice to sit here and chat with you, and I think that's what we're going to do.
Okay.
I want to go back a little bit. You came from another place. You're not from Holland.
Not from Holland.
You're
No.
from...
Well, I was born in California. My dad was getting out of the Navy, so I was born in California, but came back to Iowa when I was a very small baby. And that's where both of our families, my dad's family and my mother's family, lived. We moved to Des Moines, Iowa, which was the city.
Yeah.
However, my grandparents were both farmers. One lived a little bit north of Des Moines, about 60 miles, and the other lived about 60 miles south of Des Moines.
Okay.
So I had a wonderful growing up in the city, but I spent my summers probably visiting my grandparents' farm. I loved my grandparents. This is mostly my mother's side, because my dad was the youngest of 4 children, and his oldest brother was 20 years. So his parents were quite a bit older. My mother's parents were on the younger end of that then.
So that farm background, does that
Yes.
stay with you, this whole nature theme that you have?
I don't know. As a kid, I was a city person, had, a lot of neighbors around and friends around, was active. But I don't know what drew me to the farm. Certainly my grandparents, I just loved it. I would go in the barn and, there'd be the bales of hay all stacked, but in those stacks would be these little corners.
And how about the smell?
And the smell.
Yeah.
But in those little corners is
Very
where
nice.
the baby, the mama
Yeah.
cat
Sure.
would have her babies.
Yeah,
That's where she kind of go in and
right.
have her babies in that
Oh,
snuggly little place in the
All that
bales of
hay,
hay.
all that, that's just a lot of memories there for you.
My grandparents had an old Pontiac. I had an old Pontiac.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my grandpa would be out in the field. My grandma had to bring lunch out to Grandpa if he was in the field then. So I don't know. I was barely old enough to see over the steering wheel, and she would let me drive this car out when we would bring Grandpa his lunch out there. But sometimes we had to go down a lane, and it was a muddy lane, and oh my gosh, I would just step on it, and the wheels would spin, and we'd laugh. I don't know. I just remember having very fond memories of those times.
Yeah. Then you moved to Michigan, I guess.
We moved to Michigan when I was 12 years old. That was a huge, huge move because my dad had come back after the war and didn't have a lot of opportunities for advancement where he was. So he had known one person out here, and they had touched base, and my dad decided that was a better opportunity to advance with his family. Mm-hmm. And so we moved away from everybody being in Iowa to Michigan.
Oh, that's quite a change.
It's all
That's a
huge.
big change, especially at the age of 12, I have to think.
Well, I was in junior high school then, and I did growing up in a community that had we had small neighborhood schools, but the junior high was a big school, and that was towards the city a little bit
That's
more.
a transformation, junior high.
Yeah.
So now you're 12 and you're in Michigan.
I'll tell you a cute little story about when we came to Michigan, because my dad's boss took us around, and he rented us a home, sight unseen, where we would live for until we found something of our own. But he took us around, and the rented home was going to be in Jenison. So I remember the boss taking us around in the car, and he pointed out this pretty good-sized school, and you have to remember I was 12 years old at the time. And he said, and all I heard at 12 years old was the Reform School.
Oh, well, you know what that meant, huh?
It's a huge school, and they have all these bad kids, because this is a big school. But Jenison had lots of, back then, Christian Reformed churches. So this was their Jenison Christian Schools, I guess it was.
So that's where you went then?
Oh, no, I didn't.
You went to the public school?
I went to, Jenison was a tiny bedroom community at the time.
Very small.
And very small. So they had one elementary school really, and then a second one was built, but that is all they had. So when we made the choice, or when we were going to, after 8th grade, I guess it was, the choices were for that Jenison students is to choose either to go to Hudsonville High School or Granville High School. Oh. So Hudsonville is still pretty podunk, a little tiny school, not much, and Granville was bigger, and so I went to Granville High School.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So that's where your education in high school then as well, and then of course from there you went to college, I'm sure. Somewhere.
Yeah, I met my husband. I met Bill. I mean, certainly not my husband, but I met him when that summer I probably turned 13. Met him, and we had just come to Michigan, so I'll back up just a bit. But I met Bill at a neighborhood picnic. And so I was 13. He's 2 years older, so we were just kids. And then when I went to Granville High School, I certainly knew him because that's where his family lived and went to school.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you did go to college.
Central Michigan University, and
what did you major in? What was your favorite?
Yeah, my major was speech pathology and audiology, and I was a member of a sorority up there. As I wrote a little bio, but I was a member of Alpha Chi Omega sorority, and they were the sorority on campus that had almost everything. They had beauty, they had brains, and they had brawn. And so they were the highest GPA sorority on campus, and of all things, I was elected as their scholarship chairman because I had a little bit of spunk, and I did some poetry and things and writings, and so I wasn't the highest achiever by any means, but I was elected their scholarship chairman at Central. Yeah.
Oh. So that's where you go. Well, so that gave you an interest in what then by the time you graduated from there?
Yeah, actually I did not graduate from Central. I had known Bill all those years, and I had gone off to Central and, had a good time, pledged to sorority, and you're dating different people. But I had also dated Bill for a while now, and he was in graduate school at University of Iowa at that time, being 2 years ahead. Bill went to Hope College and then went on to Iowa in graduate school in chemistry. So when I was a freshman, I had a good time, and then I think as a sophomore you begin to kind of search what all of who you are, what you want in your life. There's a lot of questions that I think swirl around at that time, as you start to mature a little bit.
Sure.
So actually I knew Bill had been a very good friend, and all of a sudden, I've always thought this, and I actually told my granddaughter recently, who is engaged to be married, Abby, you have to align your head and your heart. Because if you only let your heart tell you something, that emotions and pitter-patter and the hormones tell you one thing. But you have to use your head, and you have to think what kind of person this is. Will you have, is there a possibility of a good life with them? Will it be happy? What kind of person are they? What is their family and all that? And to tell you the truth, I thought of that at a young age. And once my head and my heart aligned, I knew that. And Bill and I then had become serious, and he asked me to marry him. So I did not finish at Central Michigan University. We were married the fall of my senior year, that I would have been. But education was important to me, very important. And so I knew that wasn't going to deter my hopes, even though we were going to go off to Iowa together as a married couple. I finished my degree at University of Iowa.
Oh.
And I was short of the standard graduation, which at that time was June, by 3 semester points. So I had to go to summer school, but I did graduate in August from University of Iowa with a degree in speech pathology and audiology.
You've achieved a lot. And I think you still are an achiever.
Well, I've always been a positive person, I guess. I don't know where positivity comes from. I think it's how you grow up, the support you get. I never questioned that I couldn't do something. I just kind of did it.
That's the way you get ahead. Don't question it, you just do it.
Yeah.
And if you fail, you fail. You pick up and you go right ahead.
Well, you maybe learn by failures, hopefully.
We call them distractions.
Yeah, I think, life isn't a straight road ahead. It takes its twists and turns. And especially when you share it with someone, there are many twists and turns that Bill have taken in our own lives too. And, some we came back and it was devastating, and others worked out amazingly well, and was probably the best thing that ever happened in your life.
Now you and Bill are here, and you made the decision to come here. Why?
Yeah, we've always been, Bill and I have always had kind of a 10-year plan, and at least when you're young. Where are we going to be in 10 years? And then that kind of got reduced as the older we got. Where are we going to be in 5 years? So we've always kind of been able to sit down and kind of think of the future and what we would like of the future. So we were living in a condo complex, and we just thought we would start evaluating and accumulating material of where we would perhaps like to be as we were going to be getting more aging. Now, 3-year-old aging is probably a good word.
That's a good word.
But, so we started accumulating things, and we knew we wanted to stay in Holland because we had been here a while. Hope was here. We were involved with Hope and loving doing activities from the summer theater to the sports events, and just enjoying all the things that the community really offered. And so it wasn't so hard to say we want to stay in Holland. And we came to a breakfast here at Freedom Village, and of course marketing gives you all that kind of material and all that. And
those breakfasts are pretty good too.
We went home and we thought, it's going to be 3 to 5 years, because we'd always heard Freedom Village is so busy, it's going to be a time. We thought, well, that'll be about the right timeline. So I would say within 6 months or so, Freedom Village called. And they said, and we were very specific. We looked at all the material, and we thought, this is going to be where we're going to live. We are going to be specific. We want to live on a certain side, face a certain direction. I'm sorry to say to all you West people, not in the hot sun, because we had lived in that, and we did not like that.
I would like, and besides, the morning is wonderful.
Morning is wonderful, and we wanted east. We would look out at the wetlands, nature, as you suggested, which I love. And since we had lived at a lake before, that was the ideal. So they asked if we would like to see it, the apartment, and we said, well, sure, that's great. We would like to see it. So they didn't tell us any number at all, and so we came up here with the marketing people, and we went up 7 floors and kind of walked over, and as we walked down the hall, I said, oh my gosh, I wonder if where is this at? And the apartment that they had was the end apartment, looking our preferred direction east, at the end of the hall. So when you're at the end of the hall, you not only have your nice windows looking out, you have an end window.
It's around there as well.
And that end window, they had opened up all the blinds and everything, so you see all these beautiful windows. Oh my gosh,
The windmill.
And I thought, oh my goodness. And the upper floor, the upper 7th floor is also vaulted ceiling. Well, Bill is tall, so I thought, oh my gosh. And so we went home, and it wasn't what we were intending. We thought, I said, the 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, of the plan.
So we went home and we sat down, and we thought we'd better have a serious conversation. It wasn't just collecting material anymore. And we kind of determined together that, hey, this isn't our exact timing as such, But you know what? This is what we want, and if it is, let's do it.
Well, sometimes that's the way it is. You know, you can plan, and then something else happens.
Yeah.
And it changes.
Yeah.
And based on everything you've done, you have to make a decision.
Sure.
And between the two of you, you're doing that, and now you're here.
But
And we're really glad you're here,
Thank you.
both of you.
This was the most different time of year, too, because this is just when COVID hit, Joe.
Oh.
This was in 2020, and COVID had hit. I mean, you couldn't sell anything because they weren't, realtors weren't showing places. Nothing was open. I mean, it was really shut down tight. Freedom Village was shut down tight. And so Freedom Village told us we would like you to move in and sign this contract, and we did, and put addendums in, you know, and Freedom Village to cover themselves too. They didn't know when it would be done because they weren't letting any contractors in at all. Nobody could come in except the residents that were here.
So you are here, but what I know from you being here is now that you are the president of RAC. Do they call you a president, or is that the term that they use, president? I guess so, right?
Oh, you know, I've never liked name tags. I'm just Cheryl.
Yeah.
And
Cheryl, who opens a meeting at RAC.
Well, I had a trouble when I was handing over some of the papers and that for RAC. I had a gavel. And I thought, oh my gosh, do I even want to use a gavel? Maybe I want to use a bell. I didn't know. But I determined what I did. I had
a whistle?
No, I had a pink ribbon in the house. So I tied a pink ribbon around the gavel, pretty big pink ribbon, in fact. And there was a little bit of a reason for that, too.
Well, I could guess, but you don't have to say it.
I won't say it now. But so I still have that in my bag that I carry to the meetings. And with my pink ribbon and my gavel, I call the meeting to order.
So is that a good position to be in? Do you enjoy doing that?
Well, I enjoy it to probably 95%. There's a 5%, and you would have to ask Bill what his percent is, because that takes me away from our enjoyment of us together.
Oh, yes.
I'm kind of a committed person. If I commit to do something, I want to do the job well, and I take time to do it well. And RAC being a large organization representing 300 people, that people don't really realize if you want to do a good job, how much time is spent to make it look easy.
Yeah.
And so that is, do I enjoy it? 95%. When Bill says something, and I'm not that I don't pay attention to him, we still do a lot of things together, but it has changed the vibe of your real togetherness. And you know, we're a team. We always have been.
Well, so you'll continue to do that. I'm sure that's not going to go away. What are your hopes for RAC?
Well, my hopes for RAC, I wrote down what my president's goal is, and I because I've thought about that, you know, and the reason I wanted to run for RAC, because I felt RAC was underutilized. And I felt that we were going along and very nicely, but could we do better? Oh my gosh, yes. And so I just felt perhaps my spirit and my health was good. I wanted to do something. I'd always been involved throughout my life. And this was something I felt I would like to do. So so my RAC, I wrote down here, my president's 2024 goal for RAC, my vision. And I wrote down our goal, because it's our goal, is for RAC and our residents together, and I'm going to read this, to use our collective voices for the betterment of Freedom Village. And, you know, Joe, I feel that here we have doctors, lawyers, nurses, teachers, administrators, business owners, ministers, college presidents, professors, and the list goes on. And I feel that if Freedom Village management doesn't appreciate all of that experience, wisdom, leadership, all those qualities.
There's a deep wealth to dig from.
Huge.
There is.
That I want the residents to feel part of that and to have a voice. Basically, RAC, it does not have any power at all. It doesn't have any power.
The big word is advisory.
That's we are really just, I wrote it down again, in our bylaws. We are to advise and enhance communications between residents and management. So that's the bylaws of RAC. And so, but RAC, I wanted to be more of a conduit from our residents to RAC to management, and for that to be recognized. No one person, I don't care if Russ is sitting out there in his office, can think of everything. No one person sitting at LCS can think of everything. Or Peak, who are actually owners. We live here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and we know what's going on.
And there are so many people that are here, and they all have a different perspective.
Oh, yes.
And a different experience. And all of that, you put that together,
yes,
you've got a very broad perspective.
Oh my gosh, and a huge area that no one person here.
We're not all the same.
No.
Not at all. People kind of think, oh, all those people at Freedom Village, they all think alike. No, they don't.
Right.
They don't.
And, the thing about RAC, too, about voicing our concerns, we need to remember as residents that we need this balance. We just don't complain, and it's way up here.
Yeah.
We need to balance that with
Action.
Well, with action, but with the good things about what make Freedom Village, what the management does with the good things too. We just can't complain to management. We have to balance that because we all need to work together. And I feel that if management needs to recognize that, and especially now because of our competition, we need to work stronger and better. And it's not just management and the residents get to live here. We need for residents to work together with management to make it awesome.
And looking at it for the betterment of everyone who lives here.
Oh, definitely.
But also where we are in the community and how we look in comparison to all the rest of the places.
So we have 14 RAC members. Each floor has 2 RAC members on it. And they are the conduit from all of that floor to RAC, and then RAC to management. So if there's a flow to it, how it flows through. Well, I feel if RAC can be that voice for our residents, that it's not that we are trying to change things. We're trying to come and bring it together
to make it function.
To make it function, so everybody just is. I wrote something else down here. I thought was kind of a good thing, but that it takes a village to deliver a vibrant, a clean, a well-run, a beautiful community where everyone wants to live, to call home, and actually to work. And so it just is, it all comes together if we work that way.
I don't know what more we could say on that. It seems to me that that's all we wanted to say. And I imagine you could go on because we haven't gone to your poetry, and maybe we can do that another time.
That would be
Do you think we could visit again? Because before we even got together this morning, Cheryl was reading her poetry tonight. I didn't realize you had that. And so I would love to get together again. Maybe we can do that. I want to thank you so much for being here. This is so informative, and I think everyone who watches this program will realize what RAC really is and how beneficial it is to everyone who lives here. Thank you so much for being here, Cheryl. Thanks for the time you gave.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Cheryl, for taking the time to share and all the energy you put into your position.
That, unfortunately, brings another Monday morning show to a close.
Aww.
You've heard all the news of the week. You are sure prepared to have a great Freedom Village week. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. And until next week, that's Ashley.
That's Noah.
And this has been Monday Morning.
Bye.